The night was quiet at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station in New Mexico. Ethan Morris yawned as he watched the data streams flow across his screen. 4 years at this post had taught him that space was mostly silent. Tonight was no different, until it wasn't. A small blip appeared on his monitor. Then another, and another. "Hey Susan, are you seeing this?" Ethan called to his colleague. Susan Parker looked up from her station. "What am I looking for?" "These signals from beyond Pluto. They're repeating at regular intervals." Susan rolled her chair over to Ethan's screen. Her eyes widened as she studied the pattern. "That's not random noise." Ethan's heart raced. "No, it's not. I think we need to call Dr. Grant." Within an hour, Dr. Olivia Grant arrived at the facility. As the lead cynolinguist at the International Space Agency, she had prepared for this moment her entire career. "Show me everything," she demanded. Ethan played back the recordings. The signals formed a clear pattern. Too regular to be natural, too complex to be simple interference. "This is it," Dr. Grant whispered. "First contact." For the next 3 days, Dr. Grant and her team worked around the clock to decode the message. Sleep was forgotten. Food came in the form of cold pizza and energy drinks. "The pattern repeats every 17 minutes," Dr. Grant explained to the growing team of scientists. "It contains mathematical sequences followed by what appears to be language constructs." On the 4th day, as governments around the world were being quietly informed of the potential contact, the signal stopped. An eerie silence filled the monitoring station. "Did we lose them?" Ethan asked. His question was answered when all their equipment suddenly lit up with alerts. "Massive object detected entering the solar system," Susan announced, her voice trembling. Satellite images revealed a ship larger than anything humans had built, moving past Neptune at impossible speeds. It ignored all broadcast attempts from Earth. The President of the United States addressed the nation that evening. "My fellow Americans, we are not alone in the universe. An unidentified vessel has entered our solar system. I assure you that our military stands ready to protect our planet, but we have no reason to assume hostile intent." People around the world watched the skies, some in fear, others in wonder. The alien ship took position in lunar orbit, its massive form visible even to amateur telescopes. Global militaries went on high alert. Fighter jets patrolled the skies. Nuclear submarines emerged from the depths, awaiting orders they hoped would never come. For 6 days, the ship remained silent. Earth sent message after message, greetings in every human language, mathematical sequences, simple images. Nothing worked. Then, on the 7th day, every electronic device on Earth capable of receiving a signal, televisions, radios, phones, computers, broadcast the same message. "Greetings, Earth dwellers. We are representatives of the Centaurian Dominion. Your world has been charted and categorized. Your species shows potential. You are now under our protection and jurisdiction. Prepare for integration." At the United Nations Security Council, world leaders gathered in emergency session. "What does integration mean?" asked the French delegate. No one knew, but the word sent chills through the room. At NASA headquarters, Ethan Morris watched the alien ship through the most powerful telescope on Earth. "It's opening," he reported as a smaller craft detached from the mothership. Dr. Grant stood beside him. "They're coming down." The smaller ship descended toward Earth, ignoring all attempts at communication. "Where are they heading?" someone asked. Ethan checked the trajectory. "Looks like Washington, D.C." In the Oval Office, the president received the news with a grim face. "Contact the Joint Chiefs. It's time to show our visitors that Earth is not as defenseless as they might think." The Centaurian vessel continued its descent, unaware that humanity was about to give them their first and only warning. The United Nations building buzzed with tension. Leaders from around the world sat in emergency session, their faces drawn with worry. On screens around the room, the alien ship hovered above Washington, D.C. "We need a unified response," said Secretary General Richard Oakes. "If we act divided, They will exploit our differences. Admiral John Harrington stood at the podium. His uniform bore the insignia of Earth's recently formed Unified Space Fleet. Though only 50 years old, his hair had gone completely gray in the past week. "We have options," he said. "Limited ones, but options nonetheless." President Samantha Nichols leaned forward. "What do you propose, Admiral?" "A demonstration. Not an attack, but a clear message that we can defend ourselves." The room filled with murmurs, some of agreement, others of concern. "And if they see it as aggression?" asked the Russian representative. Admiral Harrington's expression remained firm. "Then we learn their intentions quickly rather than slowly." After 3 hours of debate, they reached consensus. Earth would show strength but exercise restraint. At a secret facility in Nevada, engineers prepared a special missile. It carried no warhead, but was equipped with the most advanced guidance system humans had ever built. "Launch in 30 seconds, announced the mission controller. Around the world, people watched live feeds of the alien ship, unaware of what was about to happen. The missile streaked into the sky, its path calculated to pass near the alien vessel without striking it. As it approached, it slowed and stopped, hovering just half a mile from the massive ship. "Open communication channel," ordered Admiral Harrington from his command center. The message was broadcast in all Earth languages and via mathematical sequences that Dr. Grant had developed. "This is Earth. We acknowledge your presence but reject your authority. Our planet is sovereign. Stay away from Earth or face the consequences." For several minutes, there was no response. Then, the alien ship emitted a pulse that disabled the missile. It simply stopped functioning and drifted away. A message appeared on screens worldwide. "How amusing. Your primitive technology poses no threat. We are merely scouts for the Centaurian Dominion, itself a minor province of the Galactic Empire. Your resistance is noted but irrelevant." President Nichols contacted Admiral Harrington immediately. "What does this mean?" "It means they're not alone," he replied grimly. "And we've just been noticed by something much bigger than we thought." The alien scout ship began to move away from Earth, back toward its larger vessel in lunar orbit. As it departed, it left behind a small satellite that positioned itself in geostationary orbit. Dr. Grant led a team analyzing the signals from this new device. "It's some kind of marker buoy," she explained to the Emergency Council. "It's broadcasting a message to space saying pre-integration civilization and listing Earth's coordinates and resources." "They're tagging us," said President Nichols, "like hunters marking territory for later." Admiral Harrington nodded. "Exactly. They'll be back, and next time it won't be scouts." The scout ship rejoined its mothership, and within hours, both had vanished from the solar system, accelerating to speeds that defied human understanding of physics. In the aftermath, Earth's governments faced a choice: return to business as usual or prepare for what might come next. "How much time do we have?" asked the Chinese representative. No one knew for certain, but Admiral Harrington offered his assessment. "Based on their technology level compared to ours, they don't see us as an immediate threat or priority." "That's good. It gives us time." President Nichols stood up. "Then we use that time. Every nation, every resource, every scientist and engineer. We prepare." Admiral Harrington nodded. "We gave them our warning. Now we make sure we can back it up when they return." As the council dispersed, Dr. Grant approached the Admiral. "I've been studying their communication patterns. If they're just scouts for something called a galactic empire, we need to be ready for something much, much larger." Admiral Harrington looked out the window at the night sky. "Then we better get started." 5 years passed quickly. The alien marker buoy remained in orbit, silently broadcasting Earth's location to the stars. But Earth was not idle during this time. Dr. Eric Martinez worked 16-hour days in his underground laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around him, a team of 50 scientists from 20 different countries studied pieces of alien technology. "Hand me the molecular stabilizer," he said to his assistant. The young woman passed him a tool that hadn't existed 3 years ago. On the table before him lay fragments of alien metal, salvaged from the disabled missile that had drifted back to Earth. The material seemed to absorb energy and redistribute it in ways that defied Earth physics. "I think I've got it," Dr. Martinez whispered as the metal began to glow under his instruments. 200 miles away, Lieutenant Kate Williams prepared for the most important mission of her life. The spacesuit she wore was unlike any before it. Lighter, stronger, and built with stealth technology. "Final systems check," she announced to her team. "Oxygen levels normal. Communication systems operational. Stealth field at 97% effectiveness." Her mission: capture the alien marker boy. For 5 years, Earth governments had debated this action. Some feared it would alert the aliens to Earth's growing capabilities. Others believed studying the device up close was worth the risk. Admiral Harrington, now with more gray in his beard, had made the final call. "We can't defend what we don't understand," he had told the United Earth Defense Council. "Get me that boy." Lieutenant Williams and her team boarded their ship, the UESS Nighthawk. It was Earth's first true stealth vessel, designed to be invisible to the alien scanning technologies they had managed to identify. "Launch in 5 minutes," came the voice of Mission Control. As the Nighthawk prepared for launch, General Lisa Chen addressed the newest recruits of the United Earth Defense Force. 5 years ago, this organization didn't exist. Now it counted 5 million soldiers from every nation on Earth. "You are the first line of defense," she told them. "The aliens believe we are primitive. When they return, they will discover how wrong they are." The recruits stood at attention, their uniforms bearing a simple emblem: Earth, with a shield around it. In Washington, D.C., President Nichols met with her successor, President Daniel Rivera. The peaceful transfer of power continued even under the shadow of alien threat. "The shield network is 70% complete," President Nichols explained. "Dr. Martinez believes his team has developed a working prototype based on the alien energy redistribution technology." President Rivera nodded. "And the fleet?" "We have 26 ships operational. Not many compared to what we saw from the scouts, but they're equipped with our best adaptations of alien tech." In orbit, Lieutenant Williams guided the Nighthawk toward the alien boy. Her hands were steady, but sweat beaded on her forehead beneath her helmet. "Approaching target," she whispered. No signs of active defenses. Her team deployed a special containment field around the buoy, designed to block its transmissions. If the aliens were monitoring it remotely, they would simply see a continuous loop of old data. "Capture complete," she reported as the buoy was brought aboard. Returning to base. As the Nighthawk returned to Earth, deep space monitoring stations detected something concerning. Dr. Grant studied the readings with growing alarm. "Admiral," she called Harrington directly, "we've got movement at the edge of the solar system. A lot of movement." Admiral Harrington's face remained calm, but his eyes showed concern. "How many?" "Initial count shows 50 ships, much larger than the scout vessel." The Admiral took a deep breath. "Alert all commands. This is not a drill." Across Earth, 5 years of preparation were put to the test. Military bases activated, shield generators powered up. The fledgling Earth fleet moved into defensive positions. Dr. Martinez looked up from his work as emergency lights began flashing. "Are they here?" His assistant nodded. "The Galactic Empire has arrived." 50 ships entered Earth's solar system in perfect formation. They moved with purpose, not bothering to hide their approach. The largest vessel, nearly twice the size of the scout ship from 5 years ago, led the fleet. "They're heading straight for Earth," said Susan Parker, now the lead officer at the Deep Space Monitoring Station. "No deviation in course." Admiral Harrington watched from the bridge of the UESS Defender, Earth's flagship. "Hold positions," he ordered the 26 Earth vessels spread in defensive formation around the planet. No aggressive moves. The alien fleet slowed as it approached lunar orbit. A single ship, elegant and clearly designed for diplomacy rather than war, broke from the formation and continued toward Earth. "We're receiving a transmission," announced the communications officer. On screens across Earth, an alien appeared. It had blue-tinted skin, 6 fingers on each hand, and eyes that seemed too large for its narrow face. "People of Earth," it spoke in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zex Thaler of the Galactic Empire. We have come to complete your integration process. Your planet has been assessed and deemed suitable for inclusion in our domain." President Rivera stood in the Oval Office, his advisors gathered around him. "We need to respond," he said. Richard Coleman, Secretary General of the United Nations, stepped forward. "I should meet with them. A direct conversation may reveal their true intentions." "It could be dangerous," warned General Chen. Coleman nodded. "Everything about this is dangerous." The Secretary General's message was sent to the diplomatic vessel. Earth would agree to a meeting aboard the International Space Station, neutral territory between Earth and the Empire's fleet. 6 hours later, a small alien shuttle docked with the space station. Ambassador Zex Thaler emerged with 4 guards, their strange weapons held at their sides. Coleman waited in the main module, accompanied only by 2 unarmed Earth representatives. The contrast was deliberate. A show of peace, but not submission. "Secretary General Coleman," the ambassador bowed slightly. "Your habitat is functional." "Thank you for agreeing to meet here," Coleman replied. "We believe direct communication is important between sovereign powers." The ambassador's large eyes blinked slowly. "Sovereign? Perhaps there is confusion. Earth is not sovereign in imperial terms. You are a developing world, suitable for resource extraction and population utilization." Coleman kept his expression neutral. "Perhaps I can clarify our position. Earth has developed significantly since your scouts visited 5 years ago." He activated a screen showing Earth's technological advancements. The shield network, new energy sources, and adaptations of alien technology. "Impressive for such a short time," admitted the ambassador, "but irrelevant. The Empire has spent 10,000 years perfecting our technologies. Your advancements, while noteworthy for a primitive species, do not change your status." "And what exactly is that status?" Coleman asked. "Earth will become a protectorate. Your resources will be harvested efficiently. Your population will serve as laborers where needed. This is generous. Many worlds are simply stripped of all valuable materials." Coleman nodded slowly. "I see. And if we refuse?" The ambassador looked genuinely confused. "Refuse? That concept does not exist in our process. Integration happens. It is inevitable." "Perhaps you should review our warning from 5 years ago," Coleman suggested. "Ah, yes, your quaint message about consequences. Our scouts found it amusing." The ambassador waved a 6-fingered hand dismissively. "You have 30 of your days to prepare your world for integration. Key leaders will be identified and instructed on their new roles." "Resistance is," he searched for the word, "inefficient." As the ambassador returned to his shuttle, Coleman contacted Earth. "Mr. President, they're not here to negotiate. They're here to take over." President Rivera's voice was grim. "Then we give them exactly what we promised 5 years ago." "Consequences," Coleman replied. On Earth, military bases went to full alert. Hidden facilities across the planet activated advanced weapons systems. And deep beneath the Montana mountains, a secret project was finally ready to be revealed. Deep beneath the Montana mountains, a secret facility sprawled across 5 underground levels. Here, for the past 5 years, the best minds on Earth had worked on Project Prometheus, hidden from the watchful eyes of the alien marker boy. Dr. Hannah Mitchell stood before a gathering of military leaders and government officials. Behind her was a large device that pulsed with blue energy. "This is our answer to the Empire," she said, her voice steady despite the pressure. "We call it quantum displacement technology." President Rivera studied the device with a mix of hope and doubt. "In simple terms, Doctor, It allows us to move matter from one place to another instantly, bypassing physical barriers, she explained, including alien shields. Admiral Harrington stepped closer to the device. You mean we can teleport through their defenses? Exactly, Dr. Mitchell nodded. We've tested it successfully at up to 50,000 miles. Their ships in lunar orbit are well within our range. The room filled with murmurs of amazement and disbelief. General Chen raised a practical question. What can we send through? People, weapons, anything up to the size of a small shuttle, Dr. Mitchell replied. But there's a catch. The energy requirements are enormous, and we can only power a few jumps before needing to recharge. President Rivera looked to his military advisors. This changes our strategy completely. Captain Paul Garcia stepped forward. He was 35 years old, with dark eyes that had seen combat in Earth's more troubled regions before the planet united. Sir, I volunteer to lead the first strike team, he said. Admiral Harrington nodded in approval. Captain Garcia is our best special operations commander. If anyone can make this work, he can. While this meeting took place, scientist Alan Fuller worked in another section of the facility. For 3 years, he had studied the alien shield technology, looking for weaknesses. Today, he found one. Dr. Mitchell. He called out as he burst into the meeting room. Sorry for the interruption, but I've discovered something critical. He explained his breakthrough quickly. The alien shields operated on a frequency pattern that repeated every 3.7 seconds. There was a microscopic gap in the pattern that could be exploited. If we time our quantum displacement to match this gap, he said, we can send through much larger objects with less energy. Dr. Mitchell's eyes widened. We could potentially send a whole assault team at once. Captain Garcia began planning immediately. We'll need 20 soldiers, the best of the best. Our target is their command ship. In lunar orbit, construction of Earth's secret weapon was completed. The UES Defiance, built in sections and assembled in the shadow of the moon, was unlike any vessel humans had created before. It incorporated everything Earth had learned from the alien technology. Lieutenant Williams would pilot the ship. She's ready, Admiral, she reported. Weapons, shields, and stealth systems all operational. Admiral Harrington addressed the combined military leaders of Earth. Our plan is simple but dangerous. While the Empire thinks we're preparing for integration, we'll strike first with everything we have. President Rivera gave his final authorization. The Empire gave us 30 days to prepare for surrender. We'll use that time to prepare for war instead. On the 29th day, as the Empire's fleet maintained position and waited for Earth's submission, Captain Garcia and his team made final preparations. Remember, he told his soldiers, we are fighting for everything. Our freedom, our planet, our future. The Empire thinks humans are weak. Today we proved them wrong. The quantum displacement device powered up, its blue energy filling the chamber. Captain Garcia's team stepped onto the platform, weapons ready. Dr. Mitchell began the countdown. Displacement in 5, 4, 3. Admiral Harrington watched from the command center. May God help us all, he whispered. 2, 1, initiate. In a flash of blue light, Captain Garcia and his team vanished from Earth. The first strike against the Galactic Empire had begun. A flash of blue light appeared inside the Imperial flagship's command center. The alien crew had no time to react before Captain Garcia and his team materialized, weapons ready. Secure the room, Garcia ordered. His soldiers moved with practiced efficiency, disabling communication systems and securing the stunned alien officers. The Imperial commander, a tall figure with elaborate markings on his blue skin, reached for an alarm. Lieutenant Diane Lopes fired a stun round that left him frozen in place. Command center secure, she reported. The aliens stared in disbelief. No species had ever breached an Imperial vessel this way before. How did you get past our shields? Demanded a junior officer. Garcia ignored the question. Team 2, Begin Phase 2. Throughout the massive ship, more blue flashes appeared as additional human teams transported aboard. Each carried special devices developed by Dr. Fuller, disruptors designed to interfere with alien technology. On Earth, Admiral Harrington watched the operation unfold through the neural cameras embedded in the soldiers' helmets. Phase 2 complete, reported Garcia. Disruptors planted in engineering, weapons control, and life support systems. Now came the dangerous part. While Garcia's team held the command center, Lieutenant Lopes led a small group to the ship's communication hub. There, they installed a special transmitter. "Ready on your command, Admiral," Garcia reported. Admiral Harrington gave the order. Proceed with Phase 3. In lunar orbit, the UES Defiance emerged from hiding. Lieutenant Williams guided the ship on a direct course toward the Imperial fleet. "Human vessel detected," announced an Imperial sensor operator on one of the escort ships. "Weapons locking on target." The Empire fired first. Energy beams lanced out from multiple ships, all converging on the Defiance. Lieutenant Williams didn't attempt to dodge. The beams struck Earth's warship and dissipated harmlessly against its shields. "Shields holding at 97%, reported Williams' tactical officer. On the Imperial flagship, Captain Garcia activated the disruptors. Throughout the ship, systems began to fail. Weapons went offline. Shields flickered and died. Communications between Imperial vessels became garbled. The Imperial commander regained his ability to speak as the stun round wore off. "This is impossible," he growled. "Your primitive technology cannot affect our systems." Garcia smiled grimly. "We're not as primitive as you thought." On the bridge of the Defiance, Lieutenant Williams opened a channel to the entire Imperial fleet. The signal bypassed normal protocols, thanks to the special transmitter planted by Lopez's team. Admiral Harrington's face appeared on every screen on every Imperial vessel. "Attention Imperial forces," he said calmly. "You are currently experiencing what we call a demonstration. Your flagship is under our control. Your systems are being disrupted by our technology. This was not a lucky strike or a fluke. This is what humans are capable of when threatened." The Imperial ships attempted to restore communications and target the Defiance, but their systems remained compromised. "5 years ago, we gave you one warning. Stay away from Earth. You chose not to listen." Harrington's expression was stern but not cruel. "Now you face the consequences." Captain Garcia stepped into view beside the captured Imperial commander. "Your ships are currently unable to fire weapons or communicate properly with each other. We could destroy your entire fleet right now if we wished." The Imperial commander hissed in rage. "The Empire will send thousands more ships. You cannot stand against our full might." "Perhaps," Admiral Harrington acknowledged. "But how many ships are you willing to lose? How will you explain to your leaders that a primitive species defeated your advanced fleet?" Garcia's voice was clear and confident. "This was your only warning. Leave now." On the Defiance, Lieutenant Williams watched as the Imperial fleet remained frozen in indecision. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Empire faced a species that could fight back effectively. "Sir," she called to Admiral Harrington, "they're powering up their engines." The Imperial ships began to retreat, moving back toward the edge of the solar system. But the victory was short-lived. As the flagship withdrew, its communication officer managed to send one brief message to the nearest Imperial outpost. "Earth resistance unexpected. Send reinforcements. All available ships." 3 days of uneasy peace followed the retreat of the Imperial fleet. Earth celebrated its victory, but military leaders knew it was only temporary. "They'll be back," Admiral Harrington told the Emergency Council, "and in greater numbers." His prediction proved correct sooner than expected. Deep space monitors detected multiple Imperial vessels jumping into the solar system from different directions. "They're calling for reinforcements from nearby systems," Dr. Grant explained as she studied the signals. "These aren't just the ships that retreated. This is a whole new wave." Admiral Harrington implemented Operation Hornet's Nest immediately. The plan was named after the old saying, "Don't poke a hornet's nest unless you're ready for the swarm." Evacuate major cities, ordered President Rivera. Move civilians to the underground shelters. Across Earth, people grabbed emergency supplies and headed for safety. The evacuation was orderly. They had practiced many times over the past 5 years. The new Imperial fleet was 3 times larger than the first. Leading them was a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the previous flagship. "Their weapons are powering up," reported Susan Parker from the monitoring station. Admiral Harrington gave the order. "Activate planetary shields." Dr. Martinez sat at the main control station of Earth's shield network. 5 years of work came down to this moment. He pressed the activation sequence and watched as energy readings spiked across the globe. The Imperial fleet launched its first strike. Energy weapons fired from dozens of ships, aiming at major population centers around the world. The beams struck Earth's atmosphere and spread across an invisible barrier, dissipating harmlessly. "Shields holding at 89%, reported Dr. Martinez. "The network is working." On the Imperial dreadnought, the new commander watched in disbelief. "Impossible. Our scouts reported no planetary defense system of this magnitude." "The humans have advanced quickly, Commander," replied his science officer. "They have adapted our own technology against us." The commander hissed in frustration. "Increase power to weapons. Target their shield generators." The Imperial fleet adjusted its strategy, focusing fire on specific points where they detected energy nodes. The shields began to weaken in certain areas. Admiral Harrington deployed Earth's fleet in response. 26 human ships seemed pitiful against hundreds of Imperial vessels, but they had one advantage. They were smaller and more nimble. "Execute hit-and-run attacks," he ordered. "Don't engage directly. Strike and retreat." The Earth vessels darted between the larger Imperial ships, firing precise shots at vulnerable points before quickly withdrawing. It was like watching bees attack a bear, individually harmless, collectively maddening. Meanwhile, civilian scientist Nicole Ward made a critical discovery. Working from a bunker beneath Chicago, she had been analyzing Imperial communications. "I found their command frequency," she reported excitedly. "We can broadcast false orders to their fleet." General Chen immediately recognized the potential. "Can you make it look like the orders come from their command ship?" "Yes," Nicole replied. "But we need to act quickly before they change protocols." Within an hour, confusion spread through the Imperial fleet as ships received contradictory commands. Some vessels fired on empty space, others changed position, creating gaps in their formation. Earth's forces exploited these gaps, targeting key systems on Imperial ships: propulsion, weapons, sensors. Admiral Harrington watched from the UESS Defender. "This is working better than we hoped, but it won't last. They'll figure it out soon." He was right. The Imperial commander detected the interference and switched to backup communication systems. "Clever humans," the commander growled, "but not clever enough." The Imperial dreadnought moved closer to Earth, its massive weapons charging for a concentrated strike that might overwhelm the planetary shields. Just as the situation seemed to be turning against Earth, deep space sensors detected something new. Another wave of ships entering the solar system. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Williams, her voice tight. "We've got more company. A lot more." The main screen showed hundreds of Imperial vessels arriving. "That," said Admiral Harrington quietly, "is the full Imperial Armada." Hundreds of Imperial ships filled Earth's sky, visible even in daylight. They formed a sphere around the planet, blocking escape routes and preparing for a final assault. "This is it," said Admiral Harrington. "Time for the Prometheus Protocol." Deep beneath Montana, Dr. Mitchell activated the quantum displacement device at full power. Captain Garcia and his team prepared once more, but this time with a different mission. "We're not targeting their command ship," Garcia told his soldiers. "We're going for their Supreme Commander's vessel." The Supreme Commander of the Imperial Armada was a legendary figure, undefeated in 50 campaigns across the galaxy. His ship was the largest in the fleet, with security measures beyond anything humans had faced. "This is likely a one-way trip," Garcia said honestly. "But if we succeed, we save Earth." His team nodded, understanding the stakes. As the quantum displacement powered up, General Chen coordinated Earth's remaining forces. The planetary shields were weakening under constant bombardment, dropping below 40% strength. "All ships, this is General Chen. Execute synchronized attack pattern Delta. Draw their fire away from population centers." Earth's small fleet launched in perfect formation, targeting specific Imperial vessels with precision strikes. They were outnumbered 20-1, but fought with desperate courage. On the Imperial Supreme Commander's ship, alerts sounded as Earth's forces attacked. "These humans are persistent," noted the Supreme Commander, "but it changes nothing. Prepare the final bombardment sequence." At that moment, a blue flash lit up his command bridge. Captain Garcia and his team appeared, weapons ready. Before the Imperial guards could react, disruptor devices were activated throughout the ship. "What is this?" demanded the Supreme Commander, standing tall despite the chaos around him. Garcia stepped forward. "This is humanity's stand. Across the solar system. The battle rage." Lieutenant Williams piloted the Defiance through impossible maneuvers, avoiding enemy fire while striking at vulnerable spots. Dr. Martinez worked frantically to maintain the planetary shields as they weakened section by section. President Rivera spoke to his people from an underground bunker. "Stand firm. No matter what happens today, remember that humanity faced the greatest empire in the galaxy without fear." On the Supreme Commander's ship, Garcia's team had secured the bridge but were running out of time. Imperial forces were breaking through their barricades. "Sir," Lopes called to Garcia, "we can't hold much longer." Garcia turned to the Supreme Commander. "You have one chance. Call off your fleet." The Supreme Commander studied Garcia with alien eyes that had witnessed the fall of 100 worlds. "Why would I do that? You are still outmatched." "Because," Garcia replied, "humans are unlike any species you've ever faced. We gave you one warning. You ignored it. This is what happens when you threaten Earth." He activated a small device, and holographic displays showed the Supreme Commander what he couldn't see from his bridge: Earth's final defense. Hundreds of small, stealthy vessels had positioned themselves near key Imperial ships. Each carried a payload that could tear through even Imperial hulls. "We can destroy your entire fleet," Garcia said simply. "You might still overwhelm Earth, but at what cost?" For the first time in his long life, the Supreme Commander faced a choice between victory and survival. After a long moment, he gave the order: "All ships, cease fire. Stand down." Throughout the solar system, Imperial vessels powered down their weapons. An uneasy silence fell across the battlefield. Admiral Harrington opened a channel to the Supreme Commander's ship. "We offer terms: recognition of Earth as a sovereign, independent world, and a non-aggression pact between Earth and the Empire." The Supreme Commander looked at Garcia, then back at Harrington's image. In 10,000 years, no world has earned such terms. But today, Earth has. 1 month later, Admiral Harrington met with the Imperial Overseer to finalize the treaty, the first equal agreement in Imperial history. "I must know," asked the Overseer, "why did you fight so fiercely when surrender would have been easier? Other worlds accepted their place in our empire." Harrington's answer was simple: "We gave you one warning. Next time, listen." In the decades that followed, Earth became known throughout the galaxy as the planet that stood against the Empire and won.